theater experience, why is it such a unique format for both the audience and the actors?
Because it's live, and it's live and it's alive. And every night it's different. And it takes a village. It's a collaborative art. I admit that I love the part of sitting in my pajamas in front of my computer and not having anybody else, bother me, and I can just write. And because I came from television, and that was just like, that wasn't writing. That was just like putting together a puzzle or something like that. And you had so many people say, no, this, no, that, here's notes, here's that, here's that. But theater's alive, and you never know what's going to happen, and it's different every night, and it's thrilling. Hi, my name is Wendy Graf. I am the playwright of Masala Dabba, my newest play. And if you want to learn more about it and how you can see it, listen to this conversation.
So my first question is, where did the story idea come from for Masala Dabba, and why did you need to write this play?
Well, I wrote it's not a play about India. India is the context. I have traveled extensively in India, and for people who travel, and I've been so lucky to be able to travel so many wonderful places, there's every now and then there's a place that you go that kind of hits you in your heart and your psyche, and you say, have I been here before? I so relate to this. I had the same feeling in Berlin. I had the same feeling in Hanoi. And last year I had the same feeling in Shanghai. But in India, I loved India. I loved everything about India. We traveled extensively in India. We renewed our vows in a Hindu ceremony in India. And I had to be adopted by a family in Jaipur before they could give me a way to renew my vows again. Throughout my career, I've always written about the same thing: family, home, identity, whether it's sexual identity, cultural identity, the search for identity, and so on. So this is not a play about India. It's a play about a broken family. But I don't know, I just ended up, I'm a very instinctual writer. At this point in my life, I don't sit down and make outlines and cards and all that. I've found I can get to a place where my characters lead me, and I can't tell you why I started. This became India, but it did, and it's an American family with a South Asian first generation, but India is just the context. The context for this really is cooking, and it's a family of cooks. And like one character says to another one, you're a cook, if you leave out an ingredient, you can't make the dish. And that's sort of a metaphor for the play.
Tell us about the main characters, and at least the beginning of the play, and if you want to tell us any more about it, add on to that.
Well, let's see here. Actually, if I could read you what our blurb is, that has me, okay. So Masala Dabba, secrets, lies, and unresolved conflicts play out against a background of familial memories of food and cooking in Masala Dabba. And Masala Dabba is a spice. It's an Indian spice box. That's what it looks like. And it's a deeply felt family drama where food is love, loss, and portal into the past. And long buried truths surface through the stories that are inspired by each of the foods and the spices in the Masala Dabba. And though it focuses on an Indian, African-American family, I think that all families can see themselves in the stories about the past, culture, identity, and the choices we make. And so all of a sudden, after not hearing from her for years and years, Aditi, the mother, returns to the United States after being estranged from her daughter for 20 years. And it's a broken family, and all the stories of what comes out in the past come out as they're cooking and as they're relating to food, and each spice brings up another secret lie story. And it's also very much a story about a grandmother and a granddaughter and how stories are passed on through the generations. And my grandmother was very, very important to me. And I've actually written more than one play about a grandmother and a grandchild. So that was important to me in this story as well.
Tell us a little more about the main themes of the play.
A lot of my plays are based on in Japan, there's something called kintsugi, and it means golden journey, and it emphasizes the beauty of imperfection. And when a vase or a bowl or something breaks, instead of throwing it away, they put it back together again, but they fill the cracks with gold. So it honors the imperfections, and out of it comes a new, stronger, beautiful piece. And that's sort of my metaphor for this play. It's a very broken family, and hopefully it can be put together, not tied up with a bow, not like, oh, now we're going to all have Thanksgiving together, but to honor the cracks, but move toward the future.
What do you want the audience to get out of your play?
I'm always asked that. I want them to see the truth in it. I want them to see themselves in it. I don't give them answers. I ask questions, and then I hope that they'll go across the street and have a glass of wine and talk about it. I think that everybody who has a family can relate to what's going on in this family. Even I myself, we have estranged people in the family from each other. We have two kids who are fighting and won't speak to each other. We have, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You disappointed me as a mother. You disappointed me as a grandmother. You disappointed me as a child. You disappointed me as a husband. All those things that go on in a family, I think that the audience will be able to relate to and see the universality of it. And as I've been so very, very, very specific in order to honor the culture, by my specificity, I hope that the universality will shine through.
I think you might have answered my next question. Um, why is this play such a relevant story and will be for a while?
That's why. I mean, stories, stories about families are always going to last. Interpersonal relationships and families. And I mean, if you look at every work of art, every great play, it's usually about home, identity, family, culture. Sometimes I write through a political lens, and this time I wrote through a cultural lens.
And most important question, I always think, why should viewers attend the production of Masala Dabba?
Well, first of all, I think it's going to be a beautiful production. As you know, a play takes a village, and theater is a collaborative art. And I have an amazing team of designers, many of whom I've worked with before. I have a wonderful director, and I have an amazing cast. Yesterday was the first table read, and I was like, wow, this is going to be fabulous. Um, and I think that anybody who has a family or anybody who, wants to see a beautifully realized work of art should come and see it.
With the International City Theater set up the way they have their stage, how is it going to be more of an intimate version of this new show with the thrust theater format?
Oh, the thrust theater format is great. I mean, I've worked at ICT 2 times before. It's wonderful. And it's it has the stage. It's going to have different levels. There's going to be some memory sequences is going to be at the top behind a scrim. And then there's also the moat around the stage that can also be used for outside the house scenes. I love the thrust stage. I don't like what would you call it? I don't like a proscenium. I think it limits the I think it limits the intimacy, actually, and the dimension. It's very two-dimensional, whereas, using the whole theater, which I always like, even the aisles, brings everybody into it more, and I think makes it more intimate and close.
When did you first hear about International City Theater, and why do you like working with this SoCal theater so much?
Back when, I mean, I always knew about it. I always knew about it, and I'd seen different productions there, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful theater, and oh, their productions were always so top rate. And then, when was it? In 2020, the stage manager, John Freeland, who I've worked with before, he worked with me on a production called Closely Related Keys, the original, world premiere production that was at the Lounge Theater in 2014. And he contacted me one day, 2014, now we're up to 2019 or so. And he said, I work all the time at International City Theater, and I think Karen Desai would really like Closely Related Keys. And so he said, can I give it to her? I said, sure. And in the meantime, Lucy Pollock has represented them for years and years and years. And I called her, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna drop a note to Karen, who's the artistic director. And, I think you're really gonna like her. So that was actually my first experience, and I was really thrilled when they were going to do a new production of it in this big, beautiful, wonderful theater. And then COVID came. So it was postponed. I thought it was gone forever. But finally, Karen said in 2021, it was supposed to open in August of 2021. She said, I think we can do it. I think it's our first production back. And I was like, great. So it did open. International City Theater, I mean, Karen Desai is the most remarkable, wonderful person. In fact, my husband had driven me down there yesterday because I think that I had told you that I had back surgery a couple of months ago, and it was still hard for me to sit in the car all that time and drive down there. And we were talking at dinner, and I said, she's a woman of valor. She just absolutely is. And anyway, The Closely Related Keys was great. It was a great experience. There's a wonderful infrastructure of designers. Just everything, doing everything there is just so wonderful. And so after I did that, I got to be closer friends with Karen. And then I can't remember exactly how it happened. Oh, we got season tickets. We signed up for season tickets after that. So I saw everything that was done the next season. And in the meantime, I can't remember how I got Exit Wounds to her, but I got Exit Wounds to her, and she brought it on for the 2023 season, and she directed it. And oh my God, it was the most wonderful experience, really, of my theatrical career. She is a wonderful director, so sensitive, I just love working there. And I was so proud and moved by that production. And then when I wrote Masala Dabba, the main character comes from Gujarat in India, and her husband Shashim is from Gujarat. So when I was working on this, I called her and I said, can I send this to Shashim, because it was the first draft, and can he look at it and make sure I got everything right culturally and everything? And she said that she would take a look at it. I think she has a master's in Indian theater. And she took a look at it, and then it was sort of, I didn't hear anything more about it. And I was actually going to do it somewhere else that was like a small black box. And then she called me and she said, I want to do it. And so that's how ICT evolved for me. Oh, and in 2024, last year, they honored me with, my contribution. They do a big honorary dinner and all that, where they honor people, and they honored me for my contributions to theater that year. And this year, for this play, they made me the playwright in residence. And ICT doesn't develop plays. It's a 3.5 week, rehearsal period and tech period and everything. It's almost like summer stock. So the script has to be very solid when they start rehearsing. They don't develop it. There's not time for the development process. Masala Dabba has had one week-long workshop and a couple of other readings, and it was developed throughout those. So now, I presented it to them, and they're off and away. If they have any questions or anything, they can call me, but I'm not involved in the productions. They don't need me there. A lot of time, because of the very fast process, they have to use all the rehearsal time that they can. And a lot of times when the writer's there, the actors are inhibited. And B, if they have any questions or anything, they can contact me through the director.
I think you kind of answered it, but why do you enjoy having a relationship with this theater, and why do you trust them so much with your plays?
Karen Desai, because of her, I 100% trust her. She's so, more than anywhere I've ever worked, she has so much respect for the writers. But not only the writers, she has respect for the actors. She has respect for the whole team. And that's why, everyone there's no like fights or egos or, we're all there for the same purpose, to beautifully realize a story and present it to the audience.
What would you tell other playwrights, actors, and directors and theater creators why they should get involved with ICT?
For that reason, I don't know that I would tell. I don't know that I would tell emerging playwrights, because emerging playwrights have to, develop the script. And they have to have the rehearsal process, because you don't really find the play until the rehearsal process. But at ICT, they present finished plays, that have been either been done before or have been workshopped up the kazoo. Like Exit Wounds, I had a workshop production. I had a bunch of workshops. So by the time I had the play, it was like, here's the play. It's basically finished. Same with Closely Related Keys. This year I taught a master class in playwriting and how to get, they were more interested in how to get your play produced at Long Beach State, their theater department, which works closely with ICT, and they have a relationship with ICT. And I told the young emerging writers that ICT is the next step. It's not the beginning step. The beginning step, you need to have a production, you need to have 6 weeks of rehearsal, you need to, the first time it's ever been done, you need to bring the writer into the room, and you have to bring pages and swish things around, and, you're finding the play for 6 weeks. But like I said, it's 3.5 weeks rehearsal for a play at ICT. So I would encourage them to have that be a goal, but emerging writers need the development process.
Is there anything else you want to mention about the play?
No, not really. I just really hope that people will get out there and see it. One of the other benefits of working at ICT is they have a subscriber audience. So I'm not like on Friday afternoon seeing, oh, we only have 6 people signed up. That kind of thing. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about the marketing. They do the marketing. They do everything. Jordan, who does all the artwork and the marketing and everything, is so fabulous. I love them all. They're just all great. And working there is just a gift and a privilege. And I think this play is going to be very unusual. I think they're going to learn a lot. I think they're going to want to go out for Indian food afterwards. And yeah, I'm honoring the culture. I'm honoring all the time that I've spent in India and how much I've loved it. And I'm happy to be honoring all those things. And I'm happy to have it be realized at ICT. Hi, I'm Wendy Graf. I'm the playwright of Masala Dabba, which is the world premiere, which is opening August 27th through September 14th at International City Theater in Long Beach. You can go to internationalcitytheater.com and you can buy tickets. I think it's going to be a wonderful evening. It's a play about a family. I always write about family, home, culture, but it's seen through the lens of India and Indian cooking. And I'm happy to be honoring that. I've spent a lot of time in India, and I love it. And a Masala Dabba is an Indian spice box. And as it's a family of cooks, and as they go through all the spices in the spice box, that's when lies, secrets, stories come out that could possibly heal this family. So I really hope you'll make it. I think you'll enjoy it. You may feel like going out for Indian food afterwards, and see you at the theater.